Welcome, Greek U Nation, to episode number 486 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Ayalon, CEO of Greek University. I'm a speaker and an author. Our fifth book just came out. It's called Perseverance and How to Be a Great Fraternity or Sorority Alumnus. So go and pick up that book on Amazon or Barnes & Noble today. We call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there is nothing like great food to bring college students together. Fun fact, disputes are going to happen in your fraternity or sorority. It happens on a chapter level, sometimes on an alumnus level as well. Even in this election, we're going to have half of our members voting Republican and the other half are going to be voting for Democrats. That's why fraternity started in the 1800s. It was to have debate and debate the issues of the day on off campus when colleges didn't want us talking about the issues of the day on campus. So what's important here is that we should allow those debates to happen respectfully, to argue both sides, and then make a decision in unison. After that meeting, we can continue as one organization where everyone's opinions are heard and considered. The ongoing mission of our organizations remains the same, and that is what endures for centuries to come. Let's talk to our next guest about dispute resolution. Samuel Bentil draws on his 16 years of experience in the engineering and construction industry, where he has worked with major clients in the mining, oil and gas, power and energy, commercial buildings, and public infrastructure sectors. Samuel started his career in the field as a project planner and a scheduler, and has spent the second half of his career as a consultant in the forensic construction claims advisory and dispute resolution industry. As a forensics claims consultant, Samuel has investigated the causes of delays, disruptions, and disputes in over 100 construction projects across Canada. This has given him a deep understanding of the causes and effects of delays, cost overruns, and disputes, which he can use to help clients avoid disputes and successfully navigate changes to achieve and exceed project and business value. Samuel has recently joined Ankura as a senior director, where he advises clients on navigating changes, avoiding disputes, building thriving construction businesses, and undertaking successful construction projects in an area of rapid changes. Welcome to the show, Samuel.
Thank you, Michael, for having me. It's so great to be here.
It's great to have you on the show. I think you have such great experience that I think our college students are really going to appreciate. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your education because I know that you completed your master's degree at Thompson Rivers University. You actually did your bachelor's degree at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in your country of birth, Ghana. So what made you choose Thompson Rivers University here in the United States, or in Canada, I should say?
Yeah. Absolutely. Thanks so much for the question, Michael. Michael, after my undergrad degree in mechanical engineering and working about 8 straight years in mining industry and in construction, I needed a break and I wanted to take some time off and go to school, do a graduate degree. And when I was selecting, I was thinking which destination or which school works best for me. It was so much important for me that the school I was going to go to not only offer theoretical education, but practical learning. Because coming from the field, I wanted something that I could really be able to go in. It's not only about theory, but about practical and application in real life. So what stood out for Thompson Rivers for me was that the faculty in Thompson Rivers were both practitioners in the field and had become academics. So I loved the background of the faculty in Thompson Rivers. Most of them had practical experiences. They had their own consulting companies that they were working on even before they became academics. So it really stood out for me, being somebody from a practical, being on the field for a long time. I really appreciated the practical aspect. And Thompson University, really, secondly, also have a strong reputation for academic excellence. Being founded in around 1970, they had a track record that showed how they were committed to quality education. So that also stood out to me. Thirdly, what I would say is that the small class sizes of Thompson University, I think, was a big deal for me because I always valued interaction with lecturers, being able to talk to lecturers after their professors after lectures, be able to access them, be able to visit them in the office and interact with them. But I've been in the field, so I was a professional So I wanted to be able to relate to my lecturers, have time to seek their counsel, get mentorship from them. So it was important that I'll be in a small class size where the interaction and getting to know the lectures on a personal level was really, really important for me. So Thompson University really gave me that environment. They had small classes. Our MBA class was about not more than 60 students. So we had that deep interaction. I wasn't like, well, you're not missing in the haystack, you're not in the haystack, but you are seen and able to interact, and they will know you personally. And that was so really stood out for me. There was also another interesting reason. I'll tell you, Michael. When I was coming and I was researching about Thompson University, there was a professor at Thompson University. He was a professor of chemistry. And I realized that he came from the hometown of my father in Ghana. And when I realized that, I was like, this totally blew my mind. So I quickly emailed him and asked him about the school. And he gave me rave reviews. He had been lecturing there for about 20 years. And he gave me rave reviews about the investment. He told me, well, don't worry. You want to come in, I'll meet you at the airport, I'll make you settle. And coming from West Africa, flying all the way to the other end of the world in Vancouver, it was getting to know that there was somebody who you could relate with when you arrive was so crucial. So that really, I mean, sealed the deal for me, and I just took my bags and flew to the British Columbia Thompson University.
Yeah, it's always great when you have a friend that is waiting for
Yeah,
you on the other side of the world saying, "Hey, come on in, we'll help you."
yeah, yeah,
That's really great. I love that story. Really nice.
yeah.
So you're now the senior director at Ankura Consulting Group. Talk to our audience about who your clients are there and what do you do there?
So in Ankura, it's a global consulting group, and we offer solutions to our clients in all sectors of the economy. But the department and the section that I work with is in construction disputes. And in construction disputes, what we do is that we help clients who are involved in construction projects, whether the owners or other the contractors, to come to an amicable settlement when there's an issue of delay and cost overruns. And Michael, there's so much issues of cost overruns and delays happening on construction projects worldwide. And always you find the owners and the contractors at loggerheads and trying to find out who is the cause, who caused this delay, who is responsible for this cost overrun. So we come in as independent counselors to come in to investigate the issues that occurred on the project that caused the delay to happen, that caused the cost overrun to happen. So we do our analysis and prepare a report that will give a clear cut what happened on the project, like an investigative report. And the client then can take it, and now they have the facts. Then they can go and negotiate with their client, with the contractor or the owner. They'll go and negotiate that these are the facts of what happened on the ground by this expert, so that they can have a negotiated settlement and be able to amicably resolve their dispute without it escalating to litigation, which becomes more costly and more complicated. So that is what we do in Ankura, and we have clients in the owner side, that is business organizations, governmental organizations that undertake heavy public infrastructure projects. We also have clients, main construction companies are also our clients, subcontractors, trade businesses that are like electrical, mechanical trade businesses that work on construction projects are also our clients. So, and finally, law firms, because most of these clients have lawyers who are dealing with their claims for them. So usually, we also a bulk of our work come from law firms who are lawyers for the clients. So they also they get us to help them resolve the claim as expert witnesses. So that's what we do. And my role as senior director, I'm involved in from the whole life cycle of the project. I'm involved in business development, helping get new clients and onboarding them into the company CRM website and getting the project started, the commission started, from investigating all the documentation that they'll give to us, because we receive documentation in which we investigate what the issues are. So I do investigations, go through all the documents, understand what are the issues, build up the case, do the investigations. Then after getting the facts, then I can do the analysis, either delay analysis or quantum analysis, to see what caused the delay and what are the cost implications. Then prepare a final expert report, can be a 100-page report, can be a 200-page report, and present it to the client for them to have a solution. And if need be, we can be able to prepare experts, be able to go to an arbitration meeting and submit an expert, be an expert witness to the case that is being resolved. So that is when the issue has happened, or a delay issue that happened. Also, some clients are able to involve us early in an advisory position when they start a project. They're able to get in for us to come in and advise them along the way so that they don't get into disputes. So that's another aspect, an advisory role where we come in and work alongside them throughout the lifestyle of the project to help them avoid disputes and help them resolve issues, dispute, and mitigate disputes early. So those are the two facets of our programs: resolving disputes and advising clients on how to prevent disputes.
Yeah, I could see this as a real need. And sometimes these projects are huge, huge projects, a lot of money and a lot of time. So yeah, this is really interesting. I want to talk to you about collaboration because I think this is where our college students can really plug in. You
Right,
talk about all these innovative collaboration techniques, and sometimes it's really difficult for college students to collaborate with each other for
right,
various reasons. It could be personality differences, it
right,
could be that they have different goals. It
right.
could be that it's just very complex when you're involving more than one organization. So, what
Right.
are the three keys to collaborating effectively?
So collaboration is very fundamental when it comes to working together as a team, working together as a group, working together with other parties. And Michael, there's a lot of research that has come out to show that the causes of disputes, there are three main causes of dispute: personality clashes, um, that you cannot do with about it because we are inbred in us, our personality, we can't change our personalities. And the other causes of dispute are the environment. So legal changes, environment, what is happening in the environment, something happened externally that you have no control over can affect and cause dispute. But the third part is so critical. That is the cognitive aspect. That is our mindset, how we position ourselves before we enter into business relationships or we enter into any interaction with anybody. Our mindset being also a source of dispute, the way our thinking is also, and that is the only aspect of dispute that we have control over. So the cognitive is so critical, and to be able to understand the cognitive, you have to use neuroscience and emotional intelligence. Those are the basis for us to be able to understand what are the causes of dispute and how we can control our emotions. And emotional intelligence is about being self-aware of our conditions, being self-aware of the environment, of your own emotions and how your emotions impact others, and also being empathetic to the other parties, understanding where they're coming from, understanding diverse perspectives. So with this background, understand your emotions and understand how these things work, then you are able to communicate effectively. So that's the first step. Clear communication right from the onset, being open, be able to maintain a transparent and open communication with the parties that you're working with, the groups that you're working with, whether it's student groups that are coming together to form, being able to maintain an open and clear communication right from the onset. And the ability to do that is having the emotional intelligence, having to understand your emotions, be empathetic with other party, then you're able to communicate clearly and also listen actively. So that is the first step that it's important to be able to collaborate effectively. Open communication and maintaining an open interaction with whoever you're dealing with. Second is being able to establish shared goals. So it's important that from the get-go, you understand what is common to each of the parties that is involved in the organization. Understanding that we have a common goal to achieve, we have a common objective to achieve. These are the common objectives that we all need. This helps avoid the dispute that occurred through having different interests or different kind of goals that are alongside, that is not toward what the group is moving towards, having towards. So it's important that shared goals are established right from the bat so that we all work as one team and be able to focus on those things that are common to us or are common to our interests. And all these, when you have emotional intelligence and empathetic, you are able to come together and form those shared goals and shared objectives so that you can work together as one team. And the third one point I'll say is that mutual respect for each party, knowing that every team member brings value to the table. Every team member has a contribution that they are making to the team, or they have various perspectives, and you have to respect where they are coming from. So these three factors form the basis of having a collaborative relationship between those that you are working with. Then you're able to overcome any challenges that come along the way, because now you are working together as one team. So those are the three steps that I think are key for effective collaboration.
Very good. Very, very good. Now, there are all kinds of projects, construction projects that I see here in the States. And a lot of times these construction projects, they go on forever. They get delayed and delayed and delayed. And, they want to get it done by, a certain month. And then a year later, they're still working on the same project. So what are the most common reasons why projects get delayed?
Well, it's a key issue. There are so many factors that can go wrong on a project, Michael. And one of the key first step is inadequate planning. So not having the enough time and sufficient time to sit together as a team and prepare and understand what are the risks, what are the things that are potentially going to happen, that can happen on the project, so that we're able to establish your timelines and able to establish what the timelines are going to be. Because without understanding what is potentially can happen, you'll underestimate the time and you end up being delayed because you didn't factor important considerations. So there's the need for having a time to plan the project effectively. So inadequate time for planning and rush planning are always causes of delays in construction projects. Secondly, when projects get off and they are ongoing, one of the key and major issues that always causes delay are uncontrolled changes. So there can be whether the project owner can come and say that, oh, I have a different idea of what I want. So because they didn't set the clear objectives from the front, they change the requirement, they change what they want, and that can cause the team to, because now when it changes, that change will have an impact, whether in terms of cost and in terms of time. So when you are not able to evaluate the effect of those changes that are being proposed, it might impact and delay the project in terms of can increase the cost and increase the time. So it's important that the changes that come up are evaluated, they are taken into consideration to make sure that is this necessary? Do you really need to do this, or we can do without this? So when you don't control the changes, the project gets out of hand, and now you don't know when it's going to finish. You don't know how much it's going to cost because you're not controlling it. So uncontrolled changes are one of the number one causes of delays and one causes of cost overruns and disputes in construction in projects. The third causes of delays, I would say, is that supply chain disruptions, because project involve human resources, it involves equipment, it involves materials. And these international projects you're pulling materials from all over the world, various locations. So when there is disruption in the supply chain, in terms of shipping, in terms of road transport, when adverse weather conditions come, or there's a major event that disrupts the supply chain and materials are not able to get on time, equipment are not able to arrive, it becomes a major headache, because if the equipment has not arrived, there's nothing you can do. Because some of this equipment or this project take about 3 months to manufacture and about 2 months to ship. So if it's not arrived, there is no way you can get this material from locally, and it always causes disruptions in the supply chain are also one of the major causes of delays in projects.
Really good.
Third is also when there are unknown conditions that are existing in the place where the construction project is going to be taken. So there can be surprises. You want to lay a pipe, and when you dig underground, you realize that there are some material that are obstructing, or the rock quality is not what you expected. And now it's a harder rock, and now you need bigger equipment, and it becomes difficult. So there are conditions that can be at the subsurface level on the ground where the project is going to be undertaken. If they're not thoroughly investigated and understood, it can cause delay to the contractor to be able to construct their project. So these surprises really come up often and becomes the causes of dispute, causes of delays, and causes of cost overruns on construction projects. So unidentified or unintended or unanticipated subsurface conditions on construction projects is also another major factor of delays. Excessive weather patterns. Nowadays, there are a lot of excessive weather patterns. There's fires, there's hurricanes, there's typhoons, and you cannot predict them. So these weather patterns can really affect floods. There are a lot of flooding in various places. In Canada, in Ontario, they are flooding. So you cannot anticipate these events. And when they come and go out of the natural, there's nothing you can do, and they can delay your project for months. Finally, I'll say the lack of labor. Construction labor is now very difficult to come by. There's a lot of construction people in the construction labor workers that are in the baby boomers that are retiring, and there are not enough new young people entering the labor market to supplement to offset the labor that is retiring. So this has caused a huge shock in the system, and now construction projects are struggling to get sufficient amount of labor to be able to man their projects. So that become a key issue now, affecting a lot of projects and causing delays. So these are some of the key causes of delays that come to the top of my mind.
Yeah, that's really interesting that you talk about the labor market because you're right. I think a lot of young people today, they basically are just told that college is the only way to go. So they
Right.
don't enter a trade, they don't develop some kind of skill. And then now we have no labor. I mean, there's nobody in the market to do the work. So that's a major, major problem that I think we have to look at. And I think it's starting to
Yeah.
balance out now. You're starting
Mhm.
to see more people go into trades and look at that as an option instead of spending a lot of money on a college education. They're saying, hey, we can make great money right now with a trade, and we don't even need to pay and go into debt
Right.
for, big college education.
Right. And I think a lot of the college students don't understand how lucrative construction, working in the construction field, they don't understand how it's very lucrative. Construction is one of the industries that have higher pay rate as well. So I think there's a lot of education that is needed to let them know the potential and some of the benefits that comes in the being in the trades and being in the construction field and environment.
Yeah, I like that. Now, college students, they have all kinds of projects as well that they'll have with their student organizations. What are
Right.
some of the ways that these student leaders can set up a project for success on a college campus?
Yeah, that reminds me of some of the times when I was in Thompson University, and I was a student leader, and when we were organizing programs and activities for students. And I think the first key thing is setting clear objectives and guidelines and goals right from the start. Bringing everybody on board and setting clear objectives, setting clear guidelines that are really firm from the start and bringing everybody on board. I think that you want to prevent people from having their own ideas about where they are thinking that we are going or what they are thinking it should be and sitting together. I mean, I remember we have groups and we just sit down at one home and we just brainstorm as a group to make sure that we are all on one page and we are all having an idea, having the same target. So I think setting clear objectives right from the bat, and when it comes to student leadership, it's so important to have the whole team focused on one objective and measurable objectives that can be measurable, that are targeted, that are specific. It's so important to get that right from the start. Secondly, I would say building a strong team, making sure that because everything rises and falls on leadership. Having a strong team at the top that is managing and organizing is so important. Making sure that the members of the team or the leadership team that is being involved of the team, I mean, they fit together. The personalities fit together. They're able to work together. So it's important selecting those people that will be part of the team. It's so important that you have a strong team from the get-go. If a strong team is able to overcome a lot of challenges, a lot of obstacles, and the interpersonal relationships among them, if they fit together, they're able to resolve any issues that come up quickly. So I think that the second thing is getting a strong team. And finally, I would say having monitoring and providing progress on the status of the activity or the project, having a regular update, having regular meetings, giving everybody status, letting everybody know what is going on, monitoring and controlling and reporting at the activities of what is going on, keeping everybody on one page and letting everybody know what is going on, what is the status, are we ahead of schedule, are we behind schedule, is there anything lacking? So monitoring progress and having regular feedback updates will be important to keep the team on track to be able to ensure that they have success in their projects.
Great advice. I like that a lot. I want to talk to you a little bit about communication because I can tell you're a very good communicator. You're really full answers and really organized in the way that you present. So, what are some practical communication techniques that our student listeners can use when they're working with their organization?
Right. I think I mentioned this earlier on when I thought about being emotional intelligent and understanding how the mind works, how neuroscience and help us to communicate effectively. And setting clear expectations, especially clear guidelines from the start, the get-go, is so important. And having people able to give you feedback receiving feedback from having open channels of communication is so important. It will surprise you, Michael, how transparent communication affects how projects run or how organizations set up. Having transparent communications builds trust, and that is what you need from the get-go, building trust with your partners. So setting clear guidelines for communication is so important, making sure that the guidelines are clear, making sure that people are able to people are able to give you feedback on what the objectives are, and making sure that everybody's on board right from the get-go is so important. Secondly, encouraging open dialogue, making sure that everybody's inputs have been accounted for and everybody feels part, everybody feels opinion feels valued on what the team is about to achieve. That gets the buy-in from everybody. And everybody knows that, no, I'm not just a bystander, I'm not just on the periphery, but my opinion counts. So getting that, encouraging that open dialogue among team members, a very clear way of establishing communication. And finally, conflict resolution. Right from the get-go, there's the need to understand that things happen that we cannot control. Things happen out of our that we did not plan for. So there's a need for us to conscientize that we need to understand that the first thing is, let's sit together and let us be able to communicate as one another, and let us discuss our differences. Let us discuss quickly. It's important so that the issues do not linger. Because the more the unresolved issues linger, it becomes a bigger problem. So the early is resolved. So conscientizing the team members that there's a need for us to have early conflict resolution, be able to discuss any differences quickly, and establishing that right from the get-go is so important that it's important to enable clear communication to happen on a project and avoid any issues that can come, any surprises that can come out. So those are the three issues that I can mention establishes good communication on a project.
Yeah, that's really good. I also think about risk management when you're talking about these construction projects. Obviously, we don't want to have any kind of lawsuits. We don't want anybody to get hurt, on the facility. So, what are some of these principles of effective risk management that maybe our students can learn from you and then integrate that into their college student organization?
Right. So I think in terms of risk management, the first thing is being able to brainstorm and understand what the risks are right from the get-go.
Mhm.
You don't need to reinvent the wheel. These activities are things that have been done years and years over. So they are usually records, they are usually past reports that shows what occurred in the past, what are the potential that occur when these organizations or these activities are held. So being able to understand the historical nature of the kind of risk that occur when we have a project, we're able to brainstorm and know that these are the key risks that can occur is so important. Oh, there might be shortage of this material, there might be inadequate transportation to take students to one place or another. Understand all these risks and list them down. So this risk identification, that's the first step.
Mm.
And after identifying the risk, then you do a risk assessment. What is the probability of this occurring this time that you are doing? This season that you are working, you're going to do this project. What is the probability and what is the impact? How much impact will it have when it occurs? So now you have your list. Now you are evaluating each of these risks that you have identified. What are the probability and what is the impact? And this is just simple. Just putting numerical values to these things on a scale of 0 to 10. And just saying this low impact 1 or 2, or high impact is 8 or 9. So just having this matrix on each of them. What are the probability of occurrence and what is the impact when it occurs? When you're able to do that, then you have values for each of the risks and you're able to rank the highest risk to the lowest risk. Then after that, you'll be able to prepare mitigation strategies. What are we going to do when this risk occurs? What is going to be our response? What is the action we are going to take? And who is going to handle it? So you assign risk owners to all of these identified risk events that have been identified, and risk owners who are responsible to monitor it and report to the team. Then I think finally, it's just continuous monitoring, having regular updates. After a month or two, you just get back and what are the status? How is this? How are we doing? Is this risk still on the table? Do we need to take this risk out? Or so regular updates to update what is all the metrics that what you have identified and what are the impacts. Identify and having regular monitoring updates on the status of risk will keep. I think we'll be able to manage any risk that can come. And because you've established a clear clear collaboration from the get-go, you're able to breeze through this and you're able to overcome any challenges that come to the team.
So helpful. I love it. Now, we do love good food here at the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. That's my weakness is eating good food. So if I'm looking for great food in Vancouver, where should I go for a great meal?
You know, even I was going to ask you, Michael, about Greek university. It doesn't have anything to do with Greek because there's some fantastic Greek restaurants here. There's a Greek island restaurant, and they serve fantastic lamb roast. It's unbelievable, Michael. You need to check it out when you come to town. And in terms of seafood, there's a lot of good Asian food in Vancouver. There's one restaurant called Miku, and they say one of the best sushis that you can.
Ooh.
Yeah, so if you are into sushi, Miku is one of the places you need to check out. And if you want something handy, and something casual, Tacofino, they serve one of the great tacos in town. Definitely should check that one out. And I mean, that's some of my top three that will come off out of the back of my head.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
That sounds great. Tacos, sushi, I'm in. I mean, hey, listen, this is all good stuff. I love it. I love it. There is really good food in Vancouver, so I'm definitely
Yeah.
going to check that out. So,
Yeah.
all right. So, if our listeners, if they want to connect with you as a speaker, maybe as a workshop leader, or even a consultant on dispute resolution, where can they go to connect with you?
I'm very active on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
So through LinkedIn, you can connect with me, send me a direct message. Or secondly, if you go to Ankura, www.ankura.com, the company website, and type my name, I'll come up. All my contact details are in there. And I've got a website, a personal website, www.samuelkbentil, my first and last name with a middle initial K, samuelkbentil.com. You'll have all the contact details about my upcoming book and about how to contact me for workshops, for consultancy, or for speaking engagement. And you can send me messages from that platform as well.
Perfect. I appreciate all the great advice today. If you want to contact Samuel, definitely go through LinkedIn. That's probably the easiest way.
Yeah.
Samuel, his last name is spelled Bentil. So look him up there, or you can go to his personal website, samuelkbentil.com, and you can connect with him there as well. Samuel, thank you so much for all this great information.
Thank you so much, Michael, for having me. I wish Duke University all the best at this season that is coming up. And I know that you guys will breeze through it.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this conversation with Samuel, I want you to like it and I want you to share it with other college students that need some help with their conflict resolution. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.